Okay, here we are back on our island here at Femtocells Europe. I am with Sanjeev Verma, who is co-founder of Airvana. Sanjeev, hello.
Hello.
Just tell us quickly, Airvana, I think we can tell already roughly what you do in this industry, but tell us the nature of your involvement in the femtocell industry.
Well, Airvana is a publicly traded company in the United States. We're based out of the US, and we are pretty actively engaged in the femtocell market. In the UMTS femto arena, we build complete femtocells, and this is an example of an Airvana femtocell. We also build modules that can be then integrated into broadband access devices like DSL modems and cable modems, and that leads to a product that's called an integrated gateway. And this is an example of a gateway that we have co-developed with Thomson.
So this means that whether you've got a standalone mobile operator looking to get into broadband, or you've got a cable or broadband operator who might have some bit of license or access to a mobile product, you can meet the demands of either.
We can, and also we can do so for both CDMA 2000 technologies as well as UMTS technology.
Okay. And if you had to sort of have a bet on where you see the integrated devices or the standalone femtocells taking off first, where would you sort of put your money?
You know, I would suggest that one of the key benefits of femtocells is that they provide excellent coverage, capacity, and new services for installed base of handsets and for consumers that have broadband devices. So one of the first and obvious things that would be applicable would be for a consumer that has a cell phone and has a broadband connection to probably start out with a standalone femtocell. So that's an attractive solution for what we call the installed base. As we, however, go further along and femtocells become more popular, you will find that integrated devices which integrate femtocells into DSL or cable modems will become an attractive offering for consumers because they are having a smaller footprint, have an integrated device, and can sometimes offer superior services. But I do expect that most operators will probably likely start out with standalone cells with integrated devices to follow soon thereafter.
Okay, so that's interesting because one of the discussions has been around how consumers are likely to view these devices, whether as some piece of computer network equipment they might expect to get through a broadband provider, or as a piece of telecoms kit that they've got. So I mean that's an interesting view on that.
Well, I don't believe that a consumer is going to think about it as a computer equipment versus a telecoms equipment. I mean,
In terms of where he goes to buy it, though.
Oh, for sure, I believe that the vast majority will be supplied by telecom operators. And so they will look at it as a device that comes from what I call as a service provider. So it's not unlike you getting a cable set-top box for your video service or a box for providing you with your internet service. These sorts of boxes will come with a service attached to them that says, well, you take this box usually from a service provider or a mobile operator, and once you install that by connecting it to a broadband device in your home, you can avail of certain services such as home zone tariffs, better coverage, and so forth. So undoubtedly, I think that this box will be supplied in the largest volumes by telecom operators. And one of the unique attributes of this product is that it straddles an IP networking broadband device, and yet it is a mobile box. So it's truly a breakthrough product, which defies, in some sense, a straight categorization into being either computer equipment or mobile.
Good point, good point. And you did mention the services there, and we've had quite a lot of conversation around which services might take the market forward. Do you think that we will see adoption based around the content and data services, or do you think it's going to be about voice to start with and the ease of use of the single phone?
I think that there is, in my mind, certainly a progression. It starts out with the very simplest of propositions where a femtocell or an integrated device like the Thomson product that we're showing is initially going to be deployed in homes to provide just excellent coverage so that people can use their mobile phone as their primary phone. In some instances, even getting rid of their wireline phone. It progresses soon thereafter to offering new service options such as femtozone or home zone calling plans, where when you are at home, you can effectively make inexpensive phone calls. It can also be in either of these two service scenarios, be sometimes used by operators in the following context. They could potentially offer you these products and say, why don't you sign up with me for a 2-year service and I'll give you one of these for free. Or they could potentially look at options that say, if you are signed up for a service which has a value above so many euros or so many dollars, I'll give you one of these for free. So those are ways for the operator to monetize those services. As these products become more and more prevalent in homes, I do believe that new services, such as services that take into account your presence in the home, will become more and more popular. Some example of those services are, you come into your home, or your child, as an example, comes into your home, and you get an SMS as soon as the child comes in home. Another example for a service may be that on your mobile phone, you come home, and let's say that you have an interest in certain video feeds or services. Since you are in an area where capacity is very inexpensive thanks to the femtocell, that's when you download automatically new content. So services of these ilk will, I think, get more and more available as femtocells get deployed, and that's not too dissimilar from how cable modem and DSL modems first got deployed just to provide a high-speed internet connection, but soon thereafter people discovered many interesting new services, video downloads, and so forth. And so I suspect that if I'm a betting man, those are the more logical models that services will follow.
And with that in mind, just a final question, if I can ask you, getting femtocells into market, what kind of volumes or what stage of the process are you at in terms of mass producing femtocells, and when might you see some commercial deployments?
I believe that the designs of the femtocells are already at a stage where they are ready for mass production. I think where the industry is that it's still working out some of the final kinks in how to deploy them, certain features and functions that operators need are being finally worked out and so forth. But I think unlike last year, when we were at least a year and a half away potentially from a real deployment, I think now it's imminent. And by imminent, I mean in the next 6 to 9 months, you can see femtocells reaching the stage where you can see a commercial deployment being pulled off with them without pulling off heroics. So it's at the stage where you can do these things in a more routine manner, as opposed to making claims a year ago, as some companies did, that it's going to happen in the next year or so. But clearly the technology, the products, and the operators weren't mature enough at that time to pull it off on a routine basis. But I think 2009, by most analysts' reckoning, and by my own understanding and Airvana's understanding of where the technology is and where the operators are, looks like the year when one or two on a routine basis see operators launching commercial services with femtocells.
That's very interesting. Thank you very much. Thank you.